Now everybody, there is reckless driving, but there also is, of course, reckless flying. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Pilots that took it too far, deliberately flying unsafe and having their license revoked, or not revoked. This is right here a video of Aerosukra. You know, they always do crazy stunts, both hands on the yoke, and they do a crazy low pass over a populated area. Now the thing about Aerosukra and the reason why that Colombian airline is so controversial is that none of the pilots ever get banned for stuff like this. I don't know why you do a low pass like this. Oh look, a little sightseeing tour in a 737-200. Very nice to see. But yes, reckless flying has always existed, although it might not always have been recorded on camera, or at least not on video. For example, there once was a Lufthansa 737-200, which you can see on this picture, that landed on this 500-meter long runway. Why? Because the pilots found it funny. The plane ended up touching down and doing a touch and go, because that 500-meter long runway of Helgoland, a small German island, is definitely not long enough. But this happened back in 1974, and those were different times. What happened to the pilots that landed here, recklessly landing on this runway, was that the captain was just demoted to the first officer position, but then could continue to fly on as a 747 captain later in the years. Pilots didn't lose their certification, and they could just continue flying. This wouldn't probably happen nowadays. This landing would have been now on TikTok like 50 years later. Mainly also because there just weren't any big cameras around to record everything to make big news headlines. And we saw how the world has changed in 2017, where the airline of Air Berlin was going defunct. Here in this video, we see an Airbus A330 doing a low pass by Dusseldorf Airport here in Germany. Quite the low pass here. Here's a view from the tower, with the captain doing quite a crazy low pass maneuver to the left. Here is the bank. Oh yeah. Now that was once again in October 2017. That was the last A330 flight that the Air Berlin did. So quite crazy and quite honestly understandable of a special maneuver, although not necessarily safe here. Quite a low pass indeed. And this was the first case that I found of such reckless behavior leading to consequences. The Air Berlin pilots were very quickly suspended for this goodbye low pass. Now we don't know whether the pilots lost their certification from the German FAA and whether they're still flying, but I'm pretty sure they still do. And you know there are low pass videos are everywhere on the internet in low quality, and that's, you know, indicator that's a good video. Jesus Christ, that's very close to trees. We're on board a jet here, a Falcon 900 LX. Look at that badass pilot.
Every day I'm shuffling.
Look at that, doing a crazy left bank maneuver you would only do in a flight simulator, really. Jesus, look at that. And look at that pilot here. Yes. We have a crazier video here even from the outside. Now that was 7 years ago already in 2018. But damn, look at that at immense speed here passing over the trees. Now by the hangar description we can see this is somewhere in Argentina. If this were to happen in the US, the FAA would be very quick to knock the doors. Yes, they do check for social media video. Now about this video, I couldn't find any Argentine media reporting about this, but apparently the pilot lost his license over this stunt. Absolutely reckless, and this is where I would say this is definitely too much. Holy moly. Well, you know, the Argentinian people are known for doing crazy low passes anyway. I'm pretty sure you remember this video from 2023. This was Argentina's brand new presidential 757 doing a go around and a little bit of a crazy low, very crazy low pass here with that airplane here in Argentina. Holy moly. Now, actually, because it's not a civilian plane, but a, presidential plane, no pilots here were fired or suspended because the passage was authorized by Air Control Tower, and it is customary whenever an aircraft is added or when a commander is relieved. So absolutely legal, although it doesn't look like it. Holy moly. Normal Argentine days. Yeah, everybody. But let's get back to illegal state. We all remember this video. Trevor Jacob, who did quite a weird stunt back in 2021. I also made a big video about that, pretending to have his plane run out of fuel over some Californian wilderness or something like that, although the plane was apparently deliberately ran out of fuel, and then heroically jumping off the plane, pulling parachute, and having the plane deliberately crash into a mountain, which looked like this. From the wing, Okay, that does look quite fascinating. Yeah, classic Swiss Air. Anyway, he got 6 months in prison for this video, mainly because the FAA doesn't really like, unmanned planes flying around the skies. Let's talk about a potential threat for residential areas. No, this is just absolutely dumb and stupid, and it's understandable that Trevor Jacob was sentenced to prison. This probably would have been one of the hardest, sentences for any pilot action. Just absolutely insane. Now, in airline aviation, there is one rule, and that is, do not let passengers into the cockpit when you're flying. And that's what someone did. Chinese pilot banned from flying after passenger cockpit photo. We see definitely an Airbus A320 with lunch served, and she's serving as well. Female passenger is seen here with her fingers in a V pose, also known as the peace sign. Dude, why BBC are you explaining that? Now, this happened in 2019 on an airline called Air Guilin in China. I think nowadays, this is just a photo, but very reckless. Nowadays, it would be hard to, open a case like this because of AI. Like, this could have very well be just an AI, but it wasn't, and the pilot was banned. Now, for all such cases in the US, in the Code of Federal Regulations, there's the article of careless or reckless operation of an aircraft. No person may operate an aircraft in a careless or reckless manner so as to endanger the life or property or of another. And sometimes that happens. Here in 2016, a helicopter pilot was caught flying very dangerously low to cars. We don't have a video of that, it's just a photo, but that is a live action here of very, very closely flying to cars. And in general aviation, these kind of low passes happen all the time. Pilot charged after allegedly flying less than 100 feet over Orange County neighborhood. Look at that photo right here. This is not near an airport at all. Why would you do that? Now, of course, airline pilots don't only get suspended for reckless flying, but reckless behavior near an airport or in their job position here. I don't know why this is like the most random crash out. In 2023, a United Airlines pilot used an axe to chop down a parking gate here. He was standing here with his car and couldn't get into the airport, and so he brought out an axe. Why would you do that? And also, the weirdest, this is aura problem. It's not even helping. So it's not even. Oh, look, it now ends up opening. Yes, congratulations. And now you're able to enter. Anyway, it was suspended and faced charges for criminal mischief. I don't know. Now, lastly, the most recent case of an airline pilot being suspended was this EasyJet pilot that narrowly missed a mountain with packet holiday plane in Hurghada in Egypt. The A320 was on approach to the airport and narrowly missed a mountain. Very narrowly, apparently. Flying over 800 feet over a mountain range, which is quite crazy for this kind of airplane. Anyway, nothing happened, but the pilot was suspended. So really, what have we learned in today's video? Don't do reckless driving, reckless flying, reckless living, because the chances are you'll get wrecked yourself. Maybe it's a good thing that nowadays everything is recorded and ends up on the internet, especially when it comes to aviation safety. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow as always. Good night. And a special thanks goes out to my members, my supporters, Guns Killer, R27, James Duram, That Dude, Anime Gods of Gaming, Derek, Insider Plane, Nishijitsu Finder, Professional Jamal, Ryland Williams, and New York. You've got beautiful names.